All right.
Hi, everyone. My name is Joe Oriani. Welcome to Joe Oriani's podcast. If you need to get hold of me, it's Oriani Joe 3 at Twitter and Joe Oriani Podcast at yahoo.com. Now, if you need to contribute, go to redcircle.com and all contributions and subscriptions are welcome. Okay, I have a very special guest today, and name is Jerry. Jerry, how do you pronounce your last name?
Correct. Think of Star Trek.
Trek. Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
That's Star Trek. Now, Jerry caught my attention because I had worked with his wife, and she told me and showed me because I went to be friends with her on Facebook, and he popped up all different things he does, all the characters he does. But with his autistic skills, he's really very, very good. He posts stuff every day, and it just absolutely impresses me. However, Jerry, a couple of questions. You're from Virginia, I see.
That's correct.
Whereabouts?
Well, originally, I suppose you could say I was born in the Philippines, but I always considered Virginia home. Culpeper, Virginia is where we are actually kind of like based out of, if you will. We consider that to be the headquarters. All of her family's still there. I've got a lot of family nearby that area, so about central Virginia. But we moved here from Southwest Virginia.
And why'd you move to Florida?
Mainly because of the fact that I was teaching at a school. That school closed, so we actually decided, best thing to do would be to move somewhere we could find an opportunity. And I've always wanted to work at Disney, so this was the natural fit. Coming down here, moving in, working at Disney, doing art at Disney, because I was an art teacher. I've always wanted to do art. So being able to do all of that was something that was really big selling point.
I am impressed because I can't even draw a straight line. I have to tell you, try to draw a circle, we got problems. So I am impressed with your work. But in particular, I noticed here on your resume, or so to speak, your former security police in the Air Force. What was that about? Did you join the Air Force or?
I joined it long time ago. I thought I was going to make a career out of the military, and I had a lot of teachers when I was growing up saying, it's difficult to make a living as an artist. It's almost impossible, and how you would have to make a living doing something else and then do your artwork as a hobby. And so I bought into that whole storyline. And I said, I'd just forget about it and go do something that I thought would be cool, that would be manly, that would be tough. And at the time, we were living in Germany when I decided that I wanted to join the service. When we were living in Germany, my dad was there on diplomatic mission. And I decided that, I would like to be in the military. I liked how a lot of them were living overseas. There was no war going on. This is between 1995 and 2000.
Okay.
And I decided that I wanted to, sign up. And I was, between those 2 years, 95 and 2000, I was 13 to 18 years old. And it made an impression on me. And I thought maybe I can do that for 20 years, travel the world and retire, and then maybe do art.
Okay. How long did you sign up for?
I signed up for 6 years. My enlisted June 2000.
How long did it last?
Lasted till June of 2007, 2008,
So
something like that.
6 years?
Yeah, 2 years was inactive reserve. The first year was inactive reserve, and the last year was inactive. So my active years was 2001 to 2007. It's really confusing.
Did they let you do any work as an artist or no?
No, not really. I spent most of my time drawing sketches and doing little caricatures of people in my unit. And I have those somewhere. I don't know what I did with them. I think they're on my Facebook page. I actually had a lot of those posted somewhere, and I would just poke fun at the leadership, at other people, at myself, you know. And I think the only thing artistic that the military let me do, and I always bragged about it being my first major piece of artwork, was that it was seen around the world. And the reason why I bragged about it was because of that. You know, it got to be seen by all over the world. And the reason why was that I there was a guy in the Air Force that was horsing around, shot himself in the foot.
Oh,
They
good.
took a picture of it, and on the floor you could see the red box that I painted for the clearing area, and that was the first time a painting or something that I made was seen around the world,
Wow.
which obviously is not the best way to go about it, but it was fun.
Did you thank the guy who shot himself in the foot?
I'd never met him,
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm sure they probably wouldn't care too much for that.
Okay. Then you went on to, I see you went on to SeaWorld. What'd you do there?
I was I started off in photo sales. Then I moved up to photographer, tour photos, OJT trainer, and then I was an assistant supervisor in photography there too. And that was mainly a job I took out of desperation because of COVID.
Hmm.
Uh, when we first moved here, I was a caricature artist. That's what I mainly focused on. And suddenly, with COVID shutting everything down, I ended up having to just find you know, another source of income. And that, for the time being, it served its purpose. And it wasn't, the worst thing in the world. It was actually a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Okay, what made you get interested in art? When did you realize you had some potential?
I think it was my parents recognized it long before I did. I just thought I was a kid that was, that enjoyed art. I never really thought of myself as somebody who had a potential until I was in Iraq, because there's a funny thing when you're growing up and you're, pretty good at art. You have a tendency to want to compare your work with everybody else. You want to compare your abilities to other people. And if you're not the best one in the room, you start to realize, hey, maybe I'm not that talented. And you start to wonder about these things, and you let self doubt get in your head.
Mhm.
And for me, um, I think it was sometime when I was in Iraq, I started to realize that's all I wanted to do. And I knew that I was pretty good at it. People were paying me money to do tattoo designs, do other things. First sale I made was for $10. I designed a tattoo for a guy in the 101st, and he was in the 101st, but he was also assigned to some armored division.
Mhm.
And I signed the two logos, and he loved it. Paid me $10 and bought me a cup of coffee.
Ah, that's worth it. Coffee.
So where it all started.
Yeah. What were you doing in Iraq?
I was doing security forces. I was protecting air bases. Mainly not air bases, just one air base. That was Kirkuk Regional Air Base. I was at FOB Warrior.
Mhm.
Uh, that's in Kirkuk. And, in security forces, your main goal is just to protect whatever assets are on the flight line. And it wasn't just the flight line, but also we ended up doing a lot of perimeter security. We detected and looked for any kind of signs of weaknesses in the defenses. We looked for any potential areas where somebody might make an attack. Um, all those things.
Yeah. I know I was in the service for 5 years. I know. So let me
Well,
ask
thank
you another question. Thank you too. Let me ask you another question. Every morning I get up and I go on Facebook and I see these drawings. Do you do them at the kitchen table?
you. Yeah, right here.
Wow. So you just sit there, have your coffee, and just start drawing.
hmm Yep, I'm sitting here at the kitchen table now, actually doing this interview. And in fact, let me just grab a. While I'm thinking about it, let me just grab a cell phone charger real quick. But no, I'm a I'm a big believer in staying accountable to whatever it is that you're doing. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
And for me, at least, if I can do a breakfast sketch in the morning, and it's something that I started doing in college. When I was in college, I would actually just spend time just doing little sketches. I did a lot of little things like that in order to help just for fun. And the reason why I was up that early in the morning was that my first college job, was over at the cafeteria and working there. Sometimes they would have me just working the breakfast shift. And every morning when I'd get up to go do the breakfast sketches, that was pretty much my thing. I would just, sit there. I'd scan people's ID cards in, and I would just do little sketches in the morning. And every morning people would come in and see what I was doing. And I started posting them on Facebook, and people would always say, "Hey, I saw you making that," or "Oh, so that's how it turned out." And that was the only.
Hello, still there?
Yep, I'm still here. I'm just going to
Okay.
prop it up real quick right here so I can get this thing set up here. Sorry about that, Joe.
That's all right. I can try to edit some of that, but we'll see. I may just leave it.
Oh yeah, it's always fun.
Sometimes, but it's spontaneous. It's great. So let me ask you a question. I noticed there's a theme to your morning drawing. You see the famous people that died, and you do a drawing like that. Like I know Olivia Newton just died, so you do
yeah.
That. I do notice a theme.
Yeah, sometimes I don't typically watch the news a lot. What I'll do, sometimes I'll end up seeing things that fascinate me, or things that will, be like a big surprise, like Lieutenant Uhura,
I've seen that. Okay.
Nichelle Nichols. She had passed away, and that was a big part of my growing up. And even though I didn't grow up in that era, my dad was a big fan of the original series of Star Trek. And because of that, I became a fan. And so for me, doing a little sketch of her was like a way of saying thank you. And also, sometimes, for me, doing a sketch helps me to process things and think about things. Sometimes people don't bother to look at, certain headlines. I like to think that maybe if I did some of my artwork once in a while that would bring attention to something that is important to me, it would actually get that out there and people would actually pay attention. Like on June 6th, 1944, you had D-Day. Right. Every June 6th, I always make a point to say something about it, mainly because my grandfather was at Utah Beach. And so I'm always conscious of that. And, there's other things too. January 20th, you had the Tet Offensive. So little things like that in history that I try to help people to not forget. And then there's other things that I enjoy doing too. Like, for example, sometimes it's a cartoon, like this morning was Moana. Now, I was off today, so my sketch actually didn't get posted till sometime after lunch. So it's more like a lunchtime sketch.
I do have a question though. I was memorized by the one that you did the other day with like all these people on it at one time.
Oh yeah.
How did you manage to do that? That was fascinating.
Well, let me see here. I'll show you a thing or two here. I'm gonna pick this up and I'm gonna turn the camera around. So like something like this right here, I'll just start drawing maybe one image. Sometimes I don't know if you were one of those kids in school that would sometimes just do little scribbles on the side of their paper.
Trust me, it was scribbles. Yes.
I might see like like on the side of the page, there was always that dot there. Sometimes I would just because they're, how notebook paper was, it had like holes there. So I would just start, building up things from there, like so. And then I would end up just saying, that kind of looks like this, or it looks like that. Or I would see those lines on the paper, and I would just start doing something like that in between the lines. And then I would just say, that's interesting. I kind of see staircases, and maybe this is a pillar. And then I would just start to build things up and go from there. And as I'm doing this is a large piece of paper. So I could easily just keep on going and just draw as many things as I want. Like here I got I'm thinking about doing some of the Tower of Terror. So I might even just say, hey, let's go ahead and maybe put in here like a little terrifying tree in the background. I'll put that there. And then I'll just keep going. And, I might say, that's interesting. Let's do another face. And then I'll just go ahead, go down here, draw another face. And faces are a lot easier than you think. All I have to do is just do a couple little lines and you got a face.
Were you challenged to put that many people on?
No, it's honestly
Okay.
something that I just kind of do. As a just as a way of practicing. It's not really something that I intend to do. It's just something that ends up that way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, because I think the caption said, someone said, can you really do this many, Jerry? That's what I think.
Oh, that one.
That
Yeah.
one.
Oh, yeah. That's the one that had 11 people on there. Yeah, that was I thought you were talking about the breakfast sketch that I did with 25 faces on there. I'm sorry.
I didn't see
No,
that.
that particular one with 11 people on there, that was a commission. A lot of times when you do the caricatures, you get requests to do like, can you do more than one person on a caricature? And I'm always like, yeah, of course. We can do you and your husband, or you and your wife, or you and your children. We could put your two kids on there, and oftentimes it's just two people. That seems to be the most popular thing. I like it. Usually it doesn't take very long. The commission on it's very good, so you can really just knock them out just like that. This one right here had 11 people. It was black and white, so you're thinking about trying to like, how am I going to fit these folks in there in an 11 by 14 space? And then the 11 by 14 smaller than 11 by 14 because you have borders, the little black borders that have like the Walt Disney World logo at the bottom, and then it has the framing that goes around it. So it's roughly around about 10 by 13 maybe. And the way I broke it down, I just said, okay, I'll do the top row with 4, middle row with 3, and then the bottom row with 4. And then as I started to work on it, I started to realize something. There's 3 couples and there is 5 children. I didn't want to put all 5 kids on one line. So I put the mom and dad of the 2 kids at the top. Then I put grandmom and grandpa, and then the other couple next to them. And then I put the 3 kids at the bottom. And that was a little bit of a challenge because you had to try to figure out how you're going to get them all on there. You had to try to make them look real, or not real, but you had to capture their likeness.
Right.
So it was a bit of a challenge. The most I've ever done up to that point was maybe 8 people.
I'm sure they loved the results.
Huh?
I'm sure they loved the results because I did, and it wasn't even my picture.
Yeah, apparently they did. So I'm happy about that.
What park do they mostly put you at?
Nowadays, hold on. Give me 1 second here. Mainly I'm at, I guess that outlet's not working. Hold on. Joe, can you give me a second? I just need to plug you in here.
Let me put on pause for a second. Okay. There you go. Now, what was Where are
We
you
were
working
talking
at?
about the locations. Typically I'm at Hollywood Studios, and I'm now there 4 days a week, Wednesday through Saturday. And then Sunday nights I'm over at Riverside. They typically move us around. When I first started, it was all over the place. I might be at the park maybe 1 day a week. I would be at Animal Kingdom, and then I would be at Beach Club, Riverside, Pop Century. Typically, I had 2 shifts at Riverside and then 1 shift at Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom was always a um, interesting park to work at, but I ended up liking Hollywood Studios a lot, and I requested to be there, and they said, "Yeah, we would love to have you over there." So I'm over there 4 days a week now.
That's good. That's good to know. How many people do that kind of work at Disney?
I want to say there's about 50 some artists that are all
Really?
out all throughout the area. Now, I'm
Never
not
knew
saying
it.
they're out there every day at the same time. You might have we have about 12 resort locations. So you have 12 artists every night out there, and that's 12 artists. And then you would have maybe 3, or actually probably 2 over at Animal Kingdom. Disney Springs will have like a whole store of people. We might have 6 people there. And at Hollywood Studios, probably about 6 people that will work there on a regular day. So talking about, I would say about 26 some artists. And then you also have those that do that might have that day off and whatnot, and you have rotating shifts. So I would say retail locations, at least there's probably around about 36 some artists that do that, and then there's other artists within the agency that do different things. But yeah, it's a pretty big operation. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but yeah, there's quite a few of us.
Are you directly employed by Disney or someone else?
No. I used to work for Disney, but now not anymore. I am actually just a third party.
Okay.
We are third party employees. Well, not employees, but we're considered operating participants, and we are expected to carry ourselves as cast members.
Okay.
To the public, we're cast members. Officially, we are Green ID operating participants. I personally like it. Um, I don't have to deal with CDS. I don't have to deal with point systems. I show
Lucky
up.
you. Lucky you.
Yeah, I show up. I work. I get discounts. I get a self admission pass to go to the park. But the other benefits, like my wife gets
Mhm.
the main gate thing where she gets 3 extra passes.
Right.
I don't get any of that, and understandably, that's fine with me though. Um, so all the things that I don't get, she gets, and I can get on her insurance if I wanted to. Um, and so it's a pretty good combination between her and I. Uh, I do like the idea that as a green ID, I don't have to worry about a lot of things. So that's
Apparently.
nice.
Apparently. What are are your shifts long? The 8 hours, 6 hours?
No, not too long. It depends on where you're at too. Like I was at Riverside last night. I was there from my shift on paper says 5 to 10. I can stay as late as I want, and I can also go in as early as I want. Nobody is checking the time. Nobody is looking to see if I showed up. I just show up to my location. I open up my booth and I start drawing. If I want to get there at 8 a.m. in the morning when the gift shop opens and start taking orders, I can. Some people do.
You get paid by per how much you draw.
It's straight commission.
That's it.
And even with a commission, I still get paid much better than whenever I worked for Disney or SeaWorld.
I'm sure you do.
You can easily do $1,000 a week. Well, I won't say easily. You can make $1,000 a week if you put in the time and you're not afraid of staying late to do the work. If you're lazy, I mean, you could still possibly pull out 400, 500 a week, but it's in your best interest to do as much as you can.
Yeah, because at any given time, you don't know when that job will disappear if COVID or something comes back.
And that's the whole reason why I ended up working at SeaWorld. Once when they reopened, I was getting maybe 1 day a week, sometimes 2 days. They tried to get me out there more, but the problem was that they just didn't have enough locations opened. And as they were reopening some locations like Riverside, it wasn't open for a long time. And that actually was pretty depressing because I drive by Riverside a lot when I would drop Dana off at work at Hollywood Studios. And I would just look over there like, wow, when is this going to open up? When is this whole thing going to be over with? Because I would love to go back there. And now that it's open again, obviously I'm excited, but, and, at the same time, I'm also extremely cautious with, the money, and also with, if you have a good night, great. If you have a good night sometimes, that means you might have to stay late because your shift, it might be 5 hours on paper, but if you take an order at 9:55, or you might get 2 or 3 orders that come in late, you have to decide, do I want to tell these guests, hey, you're going to have to pick this up, you have to get it done at another time, I can't take any more orders tonight? Or you could just say, you know what, I'm going to do it, and I'll stay till 3 a.m. in the morning to get it done. So it's really up to you. For me, when I'm at Riverside, I'm there until I get everything done, but it's also my Friday. So the next morning I could sleep in and it doesn't matter. And I'm quite happy with that.
Well, that's good. I got 10 minutes left, so I want to ask you, how did you meet Dana?
Oh, that's a
I
fun
don't do
story.
this, she'll kill me.
Let's see here. We started off as just acquaintances. We were in the same homeschool clubs, and we were in
In
the same,
Virginia?
yes, in Virginia. And we were also part of like a lot of the same, you know, other activities that kids were involved in. I just never knew her. I never knew her name. And she remembers seeing me. And I was even in the same karate class as her brother. And then one day, as I was walking through the store, I remember seeing this girl at college, at community college, and I said, you know what, I'm going to talk to her because she's kind of cute and she's a lot of fun. She's always happy, and I want to know what makes her so happy. So I just started talking to her one day, and I started to realize, you know what, she's kind of nice. I wonder if she'd give me her number. And next thing you know, the second time I saw her, she was excited to see me, and I was excited to see her. And she was surprised I didn't ask her for her number the first time around. I got her number, and then we started talking. We started to realize, wait a minute, we grew up within like, you know, like real close to one another, within like a rock's throw of each other. The house that she grew up in was, we would pass by it every time we would go into town. And later on, as we were growing up, I also remember seeing her at community college, and she remembers seeing me in the karate classes. So it was really interesting how that happened. But once when we started to realize, hey, there's a lot of places and that we met each other, but we never took the time to get to know one another.
Yeah.
And including a photo that I took of her back when she was 12 and I was working at the Culpeper Computer Connection as a student helper. I was just 10 years old at the time, and I took a photo of her and her sister, and that was really funny because she had it hanging on the door. And I said, "Hey, that was a Culpeper computer connection, wasn't it?" And she goes, "Yes, it was." you know,
Uh,
next thing you know, there's just more and more things that we had in common or places that we've been to, but we just never met.
okay.
And funny story, my great grandfather on, I'm adopted, but
Mhm.
I always considered my adopted family my family. My on my dad's side, you go back about 6 or 7 generations. Johann Freck, aka John Freck, when he came over from Germany, he was working in a coal mine in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Dana's family is from Bucks County, Pennsylvania. He ended up going into the army in 1861 just to get out of the coal mines. And, he figured 3 months in the war will be over in a month. Why not get a little break, go walk around? He ended up being in service 5 years, including being at a battlefield that was about 2 miles away from where my wife grew up at.
Really? That's kind of,
Yes,
that's kind of cool.
it's something. It really is something.
Now, I have to ask you two things before we go, because I'm watching the clock tick down. They don't give me much time. Uh, when you go to Hollywood Studios, A, where do they usually keep you? And B, if people want to see you work, where can they see it?
Okay, so if you want to see me at Hollywood Studios, I would be at Sunset Boulevard. So as you're walking towards the Tower of Terror, you could see the trolley cart that's on Sunset Boulevard. It's halfway between Tower of Terror and Hollywood Boulevard. So you have Hollywood, Sunset Boulevard, and then you would have the Tower of Terror. We're halfway down there nearby Rosie's Cafe and the Catalina Joe's.
Can we,
So
and
we're right over there. And it's hot, but it's a lot of fun. I work over there Wednesday through Saturdays, 11 to 6. And if you want to see more of the work that I create, best place to go see it is on Instagram, Freck Studios. That's spelled FRECH Studios, STUDIOS. All one word, Freck Studios. And if you just type that in on Google, it will pop up. And you can see the Instagram link. You can see a Facebook page that has the same name. I even have a couple of YouTube videos that I didn't really do much with, and I even have a TikTok that's under the same name, but I still haven't done much with it. I'm slowly trying to figure out how all this social media stuff works, and I'm also trying to figure out how everybody has time for all
yeah,
of that.
I understand that. It's a little difficult. I mean, I never knew you had to change one file to another. I'm learning as I go. Some
Mm-hmm.
editing is good and some isn't. Uh, so anyway, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna let you know when I'm gonna post this. It'll be on YouTube, Amazon, the whole thing, and you can watch it. See how yourself. I have other videos on it too. You can watch. It's free. See how I did because you may not want to see it. So anyway, I do appreciate you coming on today. It was hard to get you. I asked Dana yesterday. I said, "Don't forget to remind him." She just blowing kisses and laughing at me. So I don't know if she reminded you. So
Yep. No,
yeah,
she reminded me.
did she? Good.
And then I saw your message this morning, so I just want to make sure. But I kept on not seeing the email, and I realized what it was. I've been getting so many emails. I've been just throwing a bunch of stuff in junk, and I think all my Zoom emails are going to my junk files and not to my inbox. So when you emailed me, I went to the junk folder, and there was like 3 or 4 emails from you. So
Oh,
not
okay.
from your email, but from Zoom. So
No.
Zoom
Okay.
kept saying, "Hey, you have an invite."
Yeah. Okay. I got about 45 seconds left. I want to know what you would tell somebody who's an inspiring artist to give them that hope that they can become and make money and not to be discouraged.
Don't give up. Don't quit. Even if that piece of artwork that you're creating right now that you could be doing, even if that's a failure, it's a failure forward. Because with each failed piece of artwork, with each successful piece of artwork, it's one step closer to that piece of art that you were meant to create. Everybody's meant to create something. It's just a matter of time and practice to get to the point where you are doing what you are actually meant to do. So don't quit. 97% of college students who get a degree in art are no longer in the art field within 3 years. So if you stick it out and you don't quit and you just keep working, keep practicing and not giving up, you'll find a way. Just let that passion burn in you and be focused more on creating good artwork and not making money. If you're focused on making good artwork, the money will follow.
Jerry, again, I want to thank you very much. Thank Dana for me. Tell her I
No
owe her,
problem.
tell her I owe her a glass of water. And
Okay.
I do appreciate it. And again, I'll let you know when it's gonna get posted because I got a couple I gotta edit yet, probably a week or so. Okay, and again, thank
All
you very
right.
much. And I do appreciate you all work in the morning. It is so cool.
No problem. Thank you. I
Thank
appreciate you.
All right,
Have a good
have a good one. Now just remember, if you're not laughing, you're not living. Thank you. This was a good interview, and I hope you enjoy it.